everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. And yes, I did have another copy of the stream in the background. But I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Buongiorno.
Ruben Bressler.
I am so ready to rumble. Let's do it.
I'm so nervous. It's always... maybe it's always like this, okay? Maybe it's always
like this.
Well,
you get the jumblies every time. Like, doesn't matter how many times you jump off the diving board, it's still a long way down.
You know, I've performed I've played music in front of a lot of people, and every time you get the butterflies. Every time.
Yep. Same with stand-up comedy or any sort of live performance. And luckily, we aren't in front of an audience so much as the unblinking eye of the internet. But yeah,
it's
man,
true.
it's... Well, tell the people what we're on about.
Well, let's get through our original bits here. We also get started with the trumpet blast. You can get one if you support us at our highest level on Patreon. Don't have one, but if we do, we'll let you know. Kick it off with the first pick and the giveaway. The giveaway link has been sent. The giveaway link has been sent to the chat.
Great.
Please share.
$50 gift certificate.
Yeah, a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com. Thanks so much, Cool Stuff, for providing that. And our first pick is the Kickstarter.
I feel like I'm gonna puke.
Yeah. Every time.
The Kickstarter is officially live. I have put the link in the chat. The link does work. The link leads to the project. We had people backing it before we were actually live tonight.
Thank you.
That was amazing. And you guys, straight from the heart here. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. This is the Guilds of Ravnica complete set review. Oh my God, we're at $320.
Nice.
I'm nervous. I'm really nervous.
Look, okay. So last time we did this, we had no frame of reference. We were like a child wandering into the middle of a movie, and we had no idea what we were doing. This time around, we're a little bit better. Still not good.
A little bit.
But
we hit some snags.
We have a much shorter window this time for everybody.
Yeah, we've definitely learned from the previous Kickstarter in terms of, we were very ambitious in terms of our merchandise, and, I had never really done a set review before, so I didn't really know what that entailed. And so we definitely took some things from last time and are committed to making this one even better than the last one. And we're just so grateful for all of the support.
So, and I'll also note that we have not yet completely fulfilled the Dominaria Kickstarter. There's a couple reasons for that. One being it took a very long time to get the artwork. That was an issue. The printer screwed up and sent me another copy of non-foil tokens rather than our foil tokens. I literally got those in today. And I was like, guys, I've been waiting on my foils because we got to send them out already. And they're not here. So with this Kickstarter, we wanted to keep it a little bit more simple, a little straightforward. We're just talking about tokens, guys. We're just tokening it, and we're doing a few other little knickknacks, some stickers and some phone sockets and stuff. Those are very straightforward things that I don't have to freak out about. And foils are extremely expensive, guys. We're talking 4 figures. Those things are really expensive. So, that said, it's a good news and bad news. All of the Dominaria Kickstarter Kickstarter followers, Kickstarter contributors are going to get extra tokens. Everybody gets extra tokens. Yay! Everybody gets extra tokens because, I got a bunch. I swear. They're all over my desk. You should see it. I got boxes. I'm building Fort Kickass. I swear to God. It's ridiculous.
And for those of you who aren't members of the Patreon, you really need to check out the Patreon from this week's top 10. If you want to see the sausage being made, holy crap, do we go into vivid detail about how we decided to do this Kickstarter. If there's enough of a call for things, then we're certainly open to adding it. But we only got a week this time around, so
yeah, it was very important for all of us to be transparent, because Kickstarters are such a funny thing because you are dealing with money and money's funny, and so we wanted to make sure, like Evan said, even though some things haven't been rolled out yet, that we inform you as to why. We wanted you to see the decisions that went into making this next one, so you can wonder how we got here and what we were thinking. And so if you have access to this week's pre-show for the top 10s, you can see Ruben brainstorming his brains out, and Evan, and I kind of vetoing ideas. I appreciate it, but we're very all about the transparency and keeping you guys involved and informed.
Yeah.
Transparency Mafia.
I mean, that's nice. That's how, that's really how Kickstarter is sort of designed to work. It's like you're being honest, you're being upfront. You're like, look, you're seeing the sausage being made the whole time, and I'm just making sure you guys are aware that this sucks, and I'm really frustrated with it. But we're still here, we're still on track. They're printing them right now. We can finish Dominaria, but we're running out of time. Like, that's why this is only a 1-week Kickstarter. We're running out of time. We got to get hotels booked. We got to get airplane flights taken care of.
We have to get what booked?
We have to get the hotel rooms and stuff.
Hotels?
Hotel. See, I'm nervous, and it's making me southern.
It's making you southern.
Leave me alone.
It's like when Maria gets really excited and Maria's doing coverage and she tries so hard to hide her Minnesota accent, and she works really hard, but then if somebody she likes is on camera, she's like, I'm so happy for this person. I want him to go all the way to Toppy.
So happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just adorable.
Yeah.
That's insane. And also I want to mention here, this time around we have a different artist, and that is the incredible, let's get down here so I don't mess his name up, Dios Reverito.
Dio's boss just unleashed a new token range over a Cardamajigs, which I bought like the day it was released. He's done avatars for just about everybody in the community queue. April, myself, Andrew McGreeny, my friend Morgan Wentworth. He did my Coffin Queen header on my Twitter account. Anybody has had avatars done through him. He does playmats as well. He's super talented, and we're so lucky to get him, and I can't wait to see what he does for us. I know I'm really excited. I'm going to be a zombie. The people have asked. You can finally have Aaron Campbell zombies, and I can't wait. I
mean, if there isn't a 2/2 zombie token in Guilds of Ravnica with the Golgari, I mean, that's on them. That's not on us.
That's off brand. That's hashtag off brand.
That's real off brand. So we'll get Evan and I will decide what our arts are going to be. If you have any suggestions, of course, send them our way, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah. Evans had a Ravnica-themed token in the past. You had the Voice of Resurgence token.
Yeah.
Right?
This is true.
I've merely got Monastery Mentor monks and a 1/1 Squirrel Wizard thus far. So
we're gonna up our game. We're gonna get totally on brand, whatever my brand is on a token. I don't know. Ruben, you're a wizard. She's a zombie. What am I supposed to be? I don't know.
I mean,
something giant.
I'm probably gonna. You'll probably end up like a 1/1 soldier because you don't have a 1/1.
You could be a thrall token, like have the bald kind of thralls.
Oh man, plant token, and I'm a potato. I love it. That is spectacular.
Yes.
I got it. That's it. That's the answer.
We can't do sapperlings because sapperlings are copyrighted. I think.
1 plant potato token.
Oh my God.
It's got to be it, right? And then Evan was on a horse. And I see the suggestion to be a centaur, to be like a 3/3 beast as a horse.
Could also be a bear token. They made
the bears.
The
bears love Evan.
I
just had a message the other day from one of the bears. It was like, tell Evan we said hi, and so
I think that's it. I think it's 2/2 bear, 0/1 plant, 2/2 zombie. I think those are the leaders in the clubhouse right now.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're gonna spam this URL a lot as we move forward through the week. Yep. And God bless you. We're already up to $665. We're trying to make it to 2K to make sure it happens.
We're a third of the way there, 10 minutes in. I mean, I'm happy.
I'll take it. All right, so let's move on past the navel gazing into Gather the Townsfolk.
My navel's not showing.
Sometimes.
We're looking at them. They're not on camera.
Right. They're down there. Well, the first thing for Gather the Townsfolk this week is that Wizards has finally released a very straightforward learn-to-play product called Spellslinger Starter Kit. And this is where you'll get 2 60-card decks with learn-to-play guides. And the first thing it tells you is that do not shuffle the decks. They want you to draw a certain opening hand. They want to be able to guide you.
What?
Yeah, they want to guide you through the first few turns. Pokemon's done this for years, and it's a super great training tool. Like when you're like, this is how you learn the game. You're going to play a plains. There's a plains in their hand. You're going to play so and so and attack. And on the other person's card, it's going to be like block with blah 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 and play giant growth or whatever.
So that your first experience with the game isn't Mana Screw or Mana Flood.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Or your first experience isn't Storm in Walmart.
Right.
Wizards, why are dual decks dead? Well, there was this time where they put Storm in Walmart.
This is a cool idea.
It's a terrific idea. And I know, at least personally, there were some people in Wizards that has championed this thing for years.
Really?
And it just didn't get made, and they just didn't make it, and they finally made it. And so, in this price point of about $15, it's $15 again for 2 decks, 60-card decks with 2 die, which are nice. They'll teach you how to play, and then at the end of it, they say, well, look, now you can shuffle up and see how every game of Magic is different. But they walked you through a particular one.
The first game.
So you can figure out how it feels.
Super neat. I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, I really like this too. There were some people on social media who were curious as to how this compares to the welcome decks, because they tend to give those out for free. I know some of the cosplayers usually get a couple of them, and I know I worked with LPS at PAX one year, and we had a bunch of them for free as well. And so I think even the LGSs have some that you can just sort of pick up and teach people with. And so I really like these because they're current. They appear to be standard legal, and so it's a nice way to get people interested in the standard sets that are currently out now and sort of transition them to, real standard decks or competitive standard decks. They also offer you different themes and more variety. The welcome decks tend to be, here's your black deck, here's your blue deck, and they don't really change or get updated very much. And so I think these are a nice kind of step up from the welcome decks, and I really like them. I think they have a good place, in the community and in stores, and I hope people like them.
Yeah,
agreed.
I mean, I've recently put up the new player decks at Cool Stuff, and it's literally right in this price range. They're like $7 or $8 a piece. This is $15 for 2 decks, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So good job on that, Wizards. Way to finally make that product. I think, again, it's about sort of where the stepping stones are, right? If you get the welcome deck, you get these decks. Maybe you get these decks first. You don't get the welcome deck, so you still have sort of the same playing field. Really fantastic. Moving on. This past week, we released the digital goods from the Dominaria Kickstarter, being the wallpapers. We have phone wallpapers, we have desktop wallpapers, we have wallpapers for everybody, and different configurations of our token images, which is really cool, and I think they look fantastic. So
absolutely,
it
is my background on my phone, as you can see right here.
Aww, we've already had a couple listeners even send us pictures and say, hey, we've already started installing them, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is terrific. So,
I'm a big fan of these digital assets, and so we'll definitely keep doing all that.
Oh, and I am too, and you can't misprint a digital asset.
Sure.
It turns out, and delay an entire Kickstarter for longer. Okay. Aaron, I'll let you talk about this next little bit, because it has to do with your former employer at Card Hoarder. And it's one of those where you're just like, it's a totally wholesome, sponsor moment. And I'm just like, oh my God, my sponsor's so good.
It's a wholesome sponsor moment, but at the same time, it's also a bit... it's a little bit, it's kind of like when you see those stories on the news that are like, 8-year-old boy sells lemonade to raise money for cancer patients. And it's like, you shouldn't have to do that. Like, the cancer patients should just be able to get care. And so on the one hand, it's a heartwarming story, but on the other hand, it's something that really shouldn't have to happen.
I agree. However, I have an idea, and I hope you all are on board for this. I see 3 paragraphs here, and I see 3 of us, and I see 3 people who haven't done impressions of people in a long time. So I would like for this email to be read in Rich Hagon, Helene Bergeau, and Mark Rosewater's voices.
Oh, boy.
We can post the link so that y'all can read along as we read the heartwarming Card Hoarder story. You want me to go first? I'm on the left. We'll read it left to right, with me for first paragraph, Rich Hagon for the second paragraph, Aaron Campbell.
For those watching at home, we didn't know Ruben was going to suggest this.
No, I sprung this on you. I actually didn't know this topic at all.
We'll take it away, Ruben.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Christopher. This morning, one of our agents noted that an attempt to sell the collection, blank, redacted, on MTGO, and it fit a common pattern for MTGO account breaches. Seller in Sweden looking for a wire payment. I looked at my emails for this username and came across your CHN application for 2016. So I wanted to alert you right away that we believe your account has been breached. It's time to drive to work.
You know what that means. Now, forgive me, this is a little bit Australian. I work with a wonderful Australian woman, so... I have also been notified, WotC, of this fact, Though I don't know how long they take to shut off trading on a breached account, you should log into your account ASAP and change the password to something unique/different.
We did not buy this collection, and it is possible the seller still thinks we might. So time is of the essence at this point. Good luck. Oh my god, I want every email to come from Mario now.
Oh my god. All right.
So tell me, give me the gist. What does this mean?
Yeah,
they were just like, we think you got hacked?
So basically, somebody at Card Hoarder had sent an email to an individual and let them know that there was some suspicious activity on their account, that somebody was trying to sell this collection, and it went along with a pattern of MTGO account breaches, which have been happening to several people in the community based out of Sweden, in fact. And the agent from Card Hoarder looked at the emails with this username, saw that they were tied to somebody they had a relationship with before, and were like, we think something is up here. We don't think this is you doing this. They also said that they were notifying Wizards of this. And so on the one hand, it's really great that Card Hoarder is astute and aware enough to do things like this, because they really don't have to. But that's the point, is they shouldn't have to. The bot chains, the stores shouldn't be the first line of defense against suspicious activity. The first line of defense should be Wizards. The security should be good enough. Two-factor authentication should be a possibility, to where the bot chain shouldn't be doing your dirty work. And so on the one hand, it's a great story that we are associated with this amazing company, but on the other hand, it's like, Wizards, this has become a thing now. I've seen stories like this for months now of my friend Lewis was affected, Daniel Fournier was affected, now Chris Massioli's been affected, Ari Lax I think might have been affected as well, and so there's just no sign of it slowing down. And at what point do you intervene and say, okay, this is turning into a bit of an epidemic or a bit of a problem, we're going to try to help you out here, and they're just not getting, the support is not really coming from customer support, and so people just feel very lost and very confused, and they're not really sure what to do.
Look, Magic Online was made in 2001, right? And it has the security of 2001, which is just garbage. Your password can be brute forced, which means there's no clock, there's no log out, there's no like you are a human, there's nobody like click the stop signs or whatever before you get to try again. You can just try it and try it and try it and try it forever. Two-factor authentication would take time and resources, and guess what? Guess what's getting all the time and resources right now? MTG Arena. And they don't want to go and spend another $2,000 to $5,000 worth of whatever development time to add in two-factor authentication. And I'm just pulling those numbers out of thin air, by the way. It could be a lot more expensive. It could be easier. I doubt it's easier. But you got to spend money, time, and resources in order to make something like that happen. And if the golden cash cow is MTG Arena, and it keeps getting better, and I legitimately feel like, and this is someone who didn't want to like the product, I feel like Arena is getting better and better, has a better experience. I am absolutely loving playing Singleton on Arena. It's been a
I was proud of you. I saw that you were playing Muldrotha, and I kind of had like a little tear in my eye. I'm like, that's my baby.
And it was so much fun. It's so much fun. Like, so I've bought.
There's a couple of things that I recommend, because Wizards won't do it. There are a couple of things that you can. I'm very bad with technology, as y'all are well aware. However, I have been told by people who are smarter than me and better looking than me and thinner than me a couple of things. Well, definitely the smarter part. A couple of things that you can do to protect yourself, even if Magic Online won't. You can get a password manager, which I have. I use, I think it's called the digit 1 password. But you can get LastPass, stuff like that. And you can also get something similar for your phone. I know that Twitch is partnered with Authy, Authy, and you can also protect your emails with a website called haveibeenpwned.com, which lets you find if any of your old passwords have been pwned in the past.
Cube April also suggested she tends to work. I think she works for a major company, and she had also said that it's very important that you don't use duplicate passwords. It seems like the way that these people have been gaining access to Magic Online is that they are finding passwords from other websites and then using them on Magic Online. And so it's very important that you do have a Magic Online password, which is not your Gmail password, which is not your Twitter password. And I know I've been guilty with that at various points of my life, of just having it's the same across all 4, and it's like that leaves you really, really vulnerable if they do manage to crack the codes. Make sure that they're different everywhere, that you are mixing it up a little bit, that you're not following a formula. You know, for some people, it's like word, pound, number every single time, word, pound, number. But mix it up. Do like exclamation point, word, number, cap this. And so, again, you don't want to follow in the patterns, because patterns is really how people get a hold of your stuff.
Also, if you can, make it multiple words. The complexity for a computer to crack your password, if it's one word versus 2 words with a space in between them, is astronomical. So, you know, horse cartoon toaster bucket is a way better password than any random string of letters and numbers you can come up with.
A phrase is actually a really good password. Like, more than meets the eye, 7, is a better password than like only 5 random letters and 3 random numbers, because it's just longer. So those are all good things to keep in mind.
The point is, I'm just pissed off again at Magic Online.
The other thing that helps me is I literally have my passwords written down and sitting on my desk, because the odds of someone breaking into my house to steal my password are astronomically smaller than people breaking in over the internet to steal my password.
Well, it's because you keep.
And I changed.
Is that why you keep moving? I thought it was just to dodge a child support.
Well, no, that's mostly because I can't let my parole officer find me.
It's to avoid the passwords.
I got the fuzz hot on my tail.
Well, so that's really annoying. And again, I wish Wizards would fix it with two-factor authentication. But on a positive note, the PT Cube showed up, and Ruben, you've been running down the queues, ain't you?
I have been doing nothing but that all day, every day. I came late to the pre-show.
Yeah, he did.
Because I was accidentally in a cruel control matchup against another control deck, and so I finished that matchup a little bit late. Eric Klug of Klug Altars, I think he just finished wrapping up his stream. So if you go to his Twitch, let me get the Klug here. No, he's still streaming. Klug_altars. Mm-hmm. You can ask him questions. Don't leave our channel. Like, leave our channel up. Just
well, you could also check out the content on CoolStuffInc.com today, where we have an article where he writes about the archetypes there, and and he can show you sort of what some of his successful deck archetypes look like, so you know what you're aiming for.
So he's not merely a former national team member for South Korea. He's not only maybe the world's best altarist of Magic the Gathering cards.
How did Klug get on a South Korean team?
He lived in South Korea for several years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's great.
I think his wife is South Korean. Anyway, he also is the progenitor of the Pro Tour cube. Sam Black several years ago tweeted, "I wonder what a cube would look like that had one of every card that's ever won a Pro Tour." And then Eric Klug was like, "That sounds like a thing I'm going to do," and then did it. And then did it for all of us. It is the most it is a very important piece of Pro Tour history. As y'all know, I'm big into the Magic the Gathering history. And the reason why the Pro Tour cube is so important is because you can put your hands on it. Is because you can feel history. It's like watching those Marshall Sutcliffe flashback videos where he interviews people while talking about the videos. You are there with history. Oh, I wonder when Order of Lightbur won a Pro Tour. Let's go look that up. Oh, I never knew who Tom Chan Peng was, but apparently he won the first Worlds with Order of Lightbur in his deck. That's awesome. What about Millstone? Why is Millstone in the cube? Well, turns out it was in Michael Lecanto's blue-white control deck that won Pro Tour #1. There are so many interesting, cool interactions in the cube. You have Illusions Donate. You have a bunch of the twin stuff. You have Splinter Twin, Deceiver XR, Kiki Jiki, Restoration Angel, lots of those things as well. You find these super cool interactions. The first draft that I did with this cube today, I drafted zombies, and it was like a lot of Jerry Thompson cards, but I also had like Survival of the Fittest and Scrap Heap Scrounger and like Putrid Leech is a zombie, turns out, which we talked about in the top 10s the other day. There are just some random cards that you would never be like, oh my god, I can't believe that, Scarab God makes zombies, and so you could put it in a zombie deck. and you can draft elves, and you can draft basically madness, and you can combine all these super cool archetypes. I highly recommend the Pro Tour cube. It is a ton of fun. I think it's my favorite cube that exists, other than maybe just a regular unpowered cube. But I certainly love the Pro Tour cube. Shout out to Eric Klug. You all need to follow him on Twitter and here on Twitch.
But Ruben, do you like it?
I'm okay with it. It's fine.
It seems absolutely terrific. So again, MTGO giveth, MTGO taketh away.
This is certainly a giveth situation, though. I just love it. I mean, it's only 100 play points, and if you 2 and 1, then you get 100 play points. So you can go infinite drafting these phantom drafts, losing a match every 3 matches. You don't get a 66% win rate in Magic and get to go infinite very often. So this is a good one to pick up on.
Absolutely. So there was a recent change to the Grand Prix PTQs where they were changing all of the formats, as I understand it, from Legacy to Modern. And when people plan trips, and particularly around their older formats, they plan way in advance, because those are the types of people who are okay having $5,000 decks. Okay, not everyone has a $5,000 deck. And that was a problem, as it turns out. And they were very upset about that. So CFB said, we'd like to apologize for the mistake and announce that we will run the PTQs as their previous format and just add Friday Modern PTQs to LA, Providence, and Prague, as well as Modern PTQs on Thursday and Friday of Richmond. So we're not getting different PTQs, we're getting more PTQs. And
yeah, I'm really proud of them. I'm really proud of them for handling this as quickly as they did, because the backlash was immediate, especially coming off of the Pro Tour. I feel like a lot of people got to experience Legacy, for the first time, who maybe weren't very interested in it, seeing it on the biggest stage of the Pro Tour, it did make people curious about it. It did make people want to watch it. It made people want to play it. And they were looking forward to, maybe signing up for one of these Legacy PTQs. And in addition to, the players, the established players, and then for them to sort of pull the rug out from under them, people were very upset about that. And a lot of times the feedback from older players or players of older formats doesn't immediately get acted on if
right.
listened to at all. And so not only did CFB listen to these people, but they responded very, very quickly and gave them what they want. And so it ended very, very well, but it could have gone horribly awry.
I think that there was a lot of renewed interest in Legacy thanks to the Pro Tour. Pro Tour audience and people who watch Legacy Opens is not an overlap. No. And also the finals of this Pro Tour featured 2 decks, one of which was basically all basic planes, and the other of which only ran, I think, 1 or 2 Underground Seas, and it's possible it shouldn't have been running any in the form of Death Shadow.
I've actually been playing with that deck a little bit over the past week or so, and it is super fun. Some of the lines are just ridiculous. I was reading LSV's primer on it, and he was like, yeah, if you have a chance to, reanimate a turn 1 Street Wraith, you should do that. And I'm like,
yeah.
What?
3/4, pay 10 life, play a 3/4.
I had a match the other day where I was facing against a player who was on some version of Titan Shift or Amulet Bloom in Legacy, and basically what I did is I cast Reanimate on his Azusa, got it back from the graveyard, cast Snuff out on the Azusa, again, to just get my life down low enough, and then got my life low enough to just swing in with 2 Death Shadows. And just some of the lines are just absurd, and it's some of the most fun I've had playing Legacy in a long time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Death Shadow's a good
Your life total's a resource.
I also
just be sure to not play a second Death Shadow.
I did that the other day.
Don't do it when your opponent has Swords to Plowshares in your deck.
Oh my god. Wow.
Doesn't end well for you.
So they cast Swords to Plowshares on the first Death Shadow, which gave me so much life that the other Death Shadow died.
Yes. It puts you to 13.
It puts you exactly, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I also had a player who was on the Grove of the Burwillows plan, and so he would just whoop, and then he cast Vesuva and was like, whoop. And I was like, stop it, I need to get my life low.
Trying to kill myself over here. Would you cut it out, please? Jeez.
So much fun. Deck is so much fun.
That sounds amazing. All right, so let's move on here to a preview article about.
Real quick, we are up to 1345 right now, so we're doing really well. Thank you to everybody. I'm going to repost the Kickstarter link. If you weren't here at the beginning of the show, we launched our set review Kickstarter. Oh, looks like Lubufu's already on it. Thank you, Lubufu.
Thank you.
We launched our set review Kickstarter for Guilds of Ravnica, and it's up for a week. And if we hit 2K, we are funded. If we hit 4K, we get special guests. And then there's more stuff down below, including stickers and phone sockets and Erin hanging a mountain on her wall.
Yeah. And also Ruben's potatoes. You can get
and
a live
my potatoes.
potato.
I forgot. I apologize.
Tell us about them
if you
taters,
go the full
Ruben.
tater, then you get a custom potato parcel with a Ruben Bressler joke on it.
Yeah.
So hopefully you like that. There are only 30 potatoes. We had a limit to the sack of potatoes that we could be sending out. But yeah, if you get a chance, check that out. And thanks for already donating.
But your taters no limits though.
That's true.
So you can get Ruben taters anytime.
Right, and they last forever. These taters
don't
have to do something
They don't
about.
always cost $50. Sometimes you get them for free in the middle of this show. But they don't have a custom joke written by professional joke writer Ruben Bressler.
There's only so many jokes the man can write, so we're like, okay, we're gonna limit to 30, right? 30 jokes.
Yeah. Pretty sure they're Idaho potatoes, Idaho Gold, just classic baking potatoes.
Giant spuds.
But you can go to potatoparcel.com to see the style as well.
Oh my God! Maybe that could be our next sponsorship. Brainstorm Brewery. I think they have a relationship with like Squatty Potty.
Oh my God!
We could get a potato parcel sponsorship. Evan, make some calls.
All right, I'll do what I can. I'm like, over like, my name is Evan Irwin. I have a podcast. There's this guy on it. He messes up a lot. We call it tatering. Stay with me. Don't hang up. Please.
Hear me out.
Yeah, that's gonna go well. All right. So, anyway, MTG Goldfish came up with a preview for the Overwhelming Swarm miniatures, which are supposed to be essentially creature tokens.
Who are these for?
I don't know what problem they're solving. Okay, maybe.
Don't get it.
This is such a weird product that we've never seen before. It's just a giant question mark.
I think they're sweet. I love them.
I think they're pretty cool, particularly for those who like to play like D&D. These are great to get.
That's why I love them.
Okay.
Right, these are great to get on your map to show you where stuff is and like creatures and stuff. And they look like they're made pretty well. I've seen some up close and they look really nice. For miniatures. There's 28 in total, including angel, dragon, spider, and zombie, and so forth. They can be up to 55 millimeters in height. They'll be available in September for $3.50 a pop for a randomized pack. So yeah, this is the worm, the ooze, and the saplings on screen right now if you're watching the video. And again, this is just one of those things where I'm like, it's just a giant question mark. This could be huge, or it could be like really bad and no one buys it, and this is awkward when they fire sell it out.
I had to laugh.
The first thing is that we have a branding problem. Magic the Gathering Creature Forge Overwhelming Swarm is a lot of words.
That's a bunch of words going on there.
But other than that, I mean, I freaking love this thing. I'm all over it.
I had to laugh. Somebody on Twitter was like, "Hey, Aaron, you're gonna get a duffel bag full of zombies and show up."
That's
everywhere
awesome.
I go, it's just like here's my big bag and just one,
just dump
two.
it out. Like where it like spills all over the table. You're just like, what? I mean,
this many zombies.
This
coming at
many.
you.
I mean, I'm definitely getting a whole bunch of these because of the D&D Magic the Gathering crossover that's coming, so that I can use them for any campaigns that I happen to be running in the future, particularly ones with lots of saprolings running around the basement, because as we referenced earlier, saproling is only available through officially licensed products. So that's a unique thing. I love the dragon. The red dragon token is super unique in terms of the way it looks compared to other dragon minis from Dungeons and Dragons that I've seen in the past. The ooze has these great appendages that make it really cool for like a black pudding style of monster for those of you who are D&Ders out in the audience. And so yeah, I just love everything about this thing.
Black pudding monsters.
Black pudding is a type of ooze monster, and that thing will mess you up. Black puddings. Actually, you know what? This ooze token looks more like a green ochre. Ochre jelly is what those are called. Those are a little bit more reasonable.
Fair enough. So
no, I have not announced my D&D thing yet. I have announced that I will be announcing it, but I have not announced it.
The announcement of the announcement. There's nothing a marketer loves more, let me tell you.
Ruben Bressler's redacted.
Exactly.
Redacted Bressler.
Redacted Bressler.
Yeah, and
Ruben Censorler.
I think I'm going to be showing off a few of these. I believe it's next week. Ultra Pro sent me a few and said, hey, you can show them off. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So awesome. We'll see if I can get them out into the world via, of course, social media and via the show here. So that'll be fun.
Now, when are they wide released?
In September. So next month.
So you can't give away the ones that you get, can you?
They have rarities, as I understand it, and some are more rare than others. So it's always odd because they're going to be sold in packs and they're miniatures. So like how much you're fiddling with that
D&D
package
has done this
before
before.
you get it.
D&D has sold random boxes with random minis in them. I actually have a box out in the hall.
Oh, yeah.
That has like a couple, like a giant that has like a big hole in its stomach, like the maw of Obsidat.
Well, that's how the Ravnica D&D minis are going to be. Like they're going to be sold.
And that's exactly the same. So it's not exactly new territory.
Right.
And D&D and Magic are now borrowing more ideas from each other. Like I think that they put the offices closer to each other. So for example, you can keep track of your hit points with like those commander spinny life total thingies, like those little wheels.
Yeah,
that keep track of your commander life totals. Those are perfect for hit points. So yeah, I definitely am happy that they're crossing the streams more. Yeah, this is a weird one for Magic fans. I don't know if Magic fans are going to love the tokens, but certainly D&D fans are going to love them.
Well, I mean, for example, and this reminds me of when I first started working at Cool Stuff Inc. And I took a deep dive into board games, and I was just never into board games, right? And like I am totally in love with board games these days because like you just have no idea how many amazing gaming experiences are out there if you've never messed around with board games. Cool. Board game thing is meeples, little tiny meeples, and you can see them if you go to Cool Stuff Inc. Like the little meeple guy, like that is a classic board gamer thing. And I'm like, you know what?
Yes.
I'm going to bring them together. We'll cross those streams, y'all. That's what we're going to do. And I was like, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make 3 zombie minis that you get for playing in. I think it was the Shadows over Innistrad pre-release. It might have been for Eldritch Moon.
Cool.
And I was like, right? And you can use them as tokens.
Yeah.
And they hated them. They hated them. They left them on tables. They gave them away. They were like, what is this? I don't even understand. It's just, it did not. I tried to cross those streams, and those streams were not ready to be crossed. And
what I'm saying is that you were selling it to the wrong audience.
Yeah,
right?
It just wasn't the right audience. It wasn't the right audience. So
zombie minis are gonna sell like hotcakes to your D&D players. Or maybe if you have like a meeple game that is like an undead meeple game of some kind, then that would be sweet. But yeah, Magic players I don't think are going to want those kinds of things. We've complained so much about the trophy, for example. We just want a normal trophy. We just want normal tokens. We just want normal sleeves. We just want normal deck boxes. We just want normal backpacks. We just want normal T-shirts. We're kind of boring. So
right. So again, that was one of those like. It's like I tried to push a thing where it just didn't work. And so I make something else. I made metal stuff and metal tokens, and they love that stuff. And that's great. So anyway, we'll see. And, let's hope they don't explode.
Yeah.
Desperate Ravings. Rise of the Gatewatch. What in the world is this? This is going to be the Vegas news story you hear all week. Because there's almost no information about it. There's
nothing about it.
There is a little bit of a write-up. It's Magic the Gathering Rise of the Gatewatch is a hardcover book coming April 2nd next year. So we're already talking about stuff in next April. The write-up for it, there's no image available. There's not even like a this is how big the book will be type image. They basically say that the Rise of the Gatewatch is a visual history and celebration of Magic's first team of Planeswalkers, which they're lumping together, of course, the 5 originals, but also Teferi. It's weird. Like, they named the 5, and then they named Teferi. Okay.
Well, they also add Liliana, so it's Jace, Ajani, Gideon, Chandra, Nissa, Liliana, and Teferi.
Right, and those were all members of the Gatewatch in the storyline, so I understand that part.
Yeah, but Liliana's like kind of the sixth, because even though Ajani is the green-white planeswalker and Gideon's the... It's just very strange how they've laid it out. But
and that's fine. The ultimately there, and this is really interesting. Check this out: the Gatewatch's character histories, from their origins through their final confrontation with Nicol Bolas, are presented here via the very best card packaging and convention exclusive artwork. All of it reproduced together for the first time. Some seen for the first time outside of the card frame. It is a quote giftable visual reference guide, sure to appeal to new and longtime Magic fans alike. Okay. This is going to be the final confrontation with Bolas, I see, on Ravings.
Right.
I hope so.
That's weird. That's a hell of a thing to just drop in there.
Now, we'll see where the story goes, but, something crazy like Liliana becomes the new bad guy.
Sure.
I don't know. We'll see. But
or the Eldrazi make a comeback again.
Oh, God, please no.
Or Merit Lage.
Merit Lage would be sweet.
Or the Battle Mage makes a reappearance. Remember the Battle Mage from way like before Lord Windgrace?
Oh wow!
No.
He blew up the world with 3 of the Moxen.
Oh my God!
I didn't know that.
That's how old that character is. Anyway, there are some bad guys out there. Certainly, Merit Lage makes a lot of sense to try to return to. I don't know if they're. I mean, they can try to introduce some new bad guys. We have yet to see what the Ravnica story arc is going to be like. There's some loose ends still out there. Not to mention Garrick and Ashiok and the worst planeswalker of them all, the what's his name? The red creature.
Tybalt?
Tybalt, that's his name. He's a dangerous character. He's a garbage card, but he's a dangerous character, and he's just at large out in the multiverse.
Well, the one thing they have sort of led on to was that Karn is now going to go back to New Phyrexia with the Silex and blow up New Phyrexia, because that went so well when Urza did it.
Right. And you could get mono white bad guy in Heliod when we go back to Theros, because as you know, he stabbed Elspeth in the chest, and that's not great. So I think that mono white bad guy would be pretty interesting if we return to Theros. In any case, there's a couple of ways we can go without Nicol Bolas. So we aren't want for villains, but it's a little surprising that they just sort of dropped that little tidbit in there, not in like anywhere in particular, just like on an Amazon product. That's weird.
That's fine. The idea essentially to go back to Theros is weird, because like Theros has the problem of Ravnica like tenfold. Ravnica ended with a really bad set last time. Really good sets leading up to it, like RTR and Gatecrash. Gatecrash was okay. RTR was fantastic. Right. Dragon's Maze didn't have dragons in it. Okay. Right. So Theros shows up and Born of the Gods just like poops the bed, just like straight poop all over the sheets. And then like what was the last one? Journey to Nyx. That one was okay. Like, the best thing about Journey to Nyx was that Chapin won the Pro Tour. Congratulations. That's the best thing about your set. I mean, it was a little bit better, but it didn't end super well. So like, to go back to Theros, I think it's going to take a minute for us to kind of get revved up again for the idea in the world, and particularly just to get Elspeth back. I think it's just, let's get Elspeth back in here.
Yeah, and it'll be a while.
Back. I loved Constellation and Standard. Like, yes.
And Devotion was great, and there's all that good stuff. But I think it's going to be a while, because we've got our 3 sets on Ravnica. After that, we haven't been to a new world in a while, so my assumption is we're going to go to a new world of some kind. Right. And then we might start going down the list of where haven't we been in a while. New Phyrexia and Theros. Excuse me.
Wow, dude.
And I had a little bit of excitement about New Phyrexia there. Little bit of the Phyrexian oil down in my acid reflux.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I mean, Theros is on that list. It's possible we go there in the next year or two, but we'll see.
All right. So, moving on here, I cannot recall the last time I saw original Magic paintings, in particular, in sequence, basically in order, from the same artist, from the same batch of paintings. Therese Neil at this point has over $100,000 in sales from 4 paintings. From the San Diego Comic-Con promos, Jace just went for 28,100. Chandra went for 35K flat. Nissa went for 25.6K. And Liliana went for $22,950. And we're not even done. There's still one to go. So
get them coins.
Yeah. So that's
pretty crazy.
That's going to be a crazy.
Speaking of coins, I don't know if you guys saw this. This isn't in the show notes, but Noah Bradley just revamped his process for signatures. He's now up to $3 per signature, and he did another post about sort of his process, his thought process behind that, and just kind of going into what artists go through when they come to GPs. And it's a very good read. If you get a chance, you should go look at it on Twitter. But he does a good job kind of explaining what he's worth and why you should continue to value your artists, and really gave me some insight. Like, I didn't know that they have continued to see their benefits kind of fade away. Like, they're not really getting flights anymore. They're certainly not getting hotels anymore. When they do, it's an exception. They lose money based on the time they spend at these events because they're not painting, they're not working on the things they have going, like the projects they have with these major companies. They're putting those things on hold to be at GPs and to do those things for you. And then he talks about how kind of the problem we've mentioned with having playmats as part of our Kickstarters, you have this overabundance of product, and you have to kind of figure out how much product to take to an event, and then lugging all those things to events. And so following Noah will definitely give you a new appreciation for what artists go through, and will hopefully make you want to support them.
Yeah, it's not that think about just the travel days. You have to have 2 travel days in addition to the days that you're there. So your Thursday's gone, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday you're at the event, and then your Monday's gone, just getting back home and getting settled in again. So it's not until Tuesday you start doing something else. So Noah has definitely pushed that envelope in terms of, like, we're worth it. Like, our work is worth it. We put our time into this. Like, you don't have to buy it. If you don't want my signature, it's cool. Mm-hmm. This is the rate that I have to charge because I'm giving up about 5 days of my life for this Grand Prix. And if they have a whole bunch of expenses, I mean, honestly, I think it's in CFB's best interest and Wizards and Magic's best interest to promote their artists and to get their artists at these events, which are supposed to be celebrations of Magic.
Absolutely.
I know
they've done a little bit of it with Howard Lyon specifically and RK Post, who have been doing the live painting sessions with cosplayers in costume. I know Howard Lyon just did a session with Vanessa Martin when she was dressed as Avacyn the Purifier. And in Vegas, obviously, with Ashlyn Rose, with her dressed, I think she was Fey-Release, maybe.
I know she's been doing a lot of Beckett Brass lately.
She did Beckett Brass a bunch too, but I don't know if that was part of the portrait painting session.
No, she was Bloodbraid Elf.
Bloodbraid Elf, right? That was the Bloodbraid Elf one, and then obviously Christine Sprankle was Una for a painting session that I think RK specifically did, but that's become more popular a little bit with the uptick in obviously the popularity of cosplayers and using cosplayers as a focus for the art. And so having an original painting Bob Ross style session, that's one way that they've started doing that.
Well, did you hear that they I think Mike Linneman said that they don't even notify them when their art gets used? So like it's always so if you don't tell them that their art has been put on a card, they have no idea.
Yeah,
and a lot of
they're
times
very bad about informing.
And a lot of times the artist's always really surprised, like, really? That thing I did like 3 years ago? Like, all right, I guess I'll have some prints made. But yeah, that's why it's really important to, if you are somebody who gets a preview card or even just, Wizards, let these artists know that you use their stuff, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were just sort of left in the dark like that. That's wild.
Wow. Yeah, that's a little weird, honestly.
Especially for newer artists who are not totally used to the process yet. I mean, our most recent piece, I think, was by an artist that is very used to the process, Mark Tadine. I think he did our art. But yeah, I mean, for new folks, it is a wild, wild west adventure trying to figure out when your stuff gets used.
Right. I mean, ultimately, this gets back. Well, first of all, I kind of expected that was happening, and it was weird to me that it wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. That the art director, in addition to giving you the job, will also tell you when and where your work is used. Right. Maybe that person or their assistants can help out with that, and that's fine. But the idea, essentially, that Wizards is not directly sponsoring artists, I don't know if they are or not. I'm not involved in that anymore. But I know it was part of the cost that the organizer paid. many years ago in order to get the artists there, because again, they found value in having artists at the event. So if there's very few artists these days, maybe that's because they cut that budget, and that's unfortunate. And I wish they would change that, and Wizards would give some of their marketing dollars, segue time, into providing those types of services. You know what would pay for a lot of artists to go to Grand Prix? How about $165,000 we just flush down the drain for the Silver Showcase? How you feeling about that
wrong.
One? Huh? Hey, chew on that.
Not incorrect. Where's the lie, as they say? For those of you, by the way, who are interested in buying original Magic art, perhaps not in the $22,000 to $35,000 range, but maybe a little bit cheaper, you should visit theoriginalmagicart.com/marketplace. And you can find plenty of artists that are selling old pieces of their art on their own personal websites. For example, I know that Abzan Battle Priest by Chris Ron, for example, is still up for sale, so you can go check that website out.
Another thing I want to add too, you mentioned the price of art and how a lot of times that can be a deterrent. Another thing I learned from palling around with Mike Linneman is a lot of the other artists do offer installments or do offer payment plans.
Oh, for sure.
If you see a lump sum that seems to be outside of your budget, ask and see if they will do payments, if they will do installments. A lot of these artists just want to get these things sold. They just want the art to get in people's hands. They a lot of times will work with you, and so if you're scared off by a big sum, you can ask questions, you can negotiate, and you'd be surprised how many times you can get them for payments instead.
Absolutely. There is.
I want to see a couple of some other good ones here. It looks like Ryan Pancost has a lot of stuff for sale, including.
Did you see that tweet he posted?
Sorry, go ahead.
Did you see that tweet he posted the other day?
I did not.
Ryan
Pancost, child.
Ryan Pancost has a daughter. She's very young, and I guess Wizards sent him one of the commander decks for a commander that he had painted, and it was just the cutest thing of he let her open the box, and she was like, "That's Daddy's painting," and I was like, "Oh my God, my heart," and just the joy in her eyes of not only recognizing that it was a painting, but it was one that he made, her dad made, was just this amazingly heartwarming moment, and I was like, I just love everything about this.
That was.
It looks, guys, if you want. For our Trumpet Blast segment, it looks like Trumpet Blast from Dragons of Tarkir by Steve Prescott's for sale. So we could pick that one up for ourselves.
That's funny.
You too can have a Trumpet Blast on Magic Mics if you email us.
We are currently at $1,505.
Nice.
All of the special guest options are gone. 6 of the taters have been claimed.
Wow.
It's getting very exciting.
All 3 of the special guest slots
poof
are gone.
They went almost immediately. Those were just gone. So 3 very special guests are going to not only get 3 taters, we're making an extra 3 for those people.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
man.
But that's some incredible support. Thank you so very much.
Maybe we should have made more of those $250 slots. That's kind of crazy.
Hey, it's important.
We'll remember that for the next time.
It's important to keep it small. It's important to keep
That's
it small,
true.
Keeps it
Make
special.
it exclusive.
That's right. Keeps it special and puts a big spotlight on the people who help us the most. All right. Okay, so that said, again, lots of money. Where does it go? Wizards spent over $500,000 on marketing last year, $500,000.
Honestly, that sounds like a low number to me.
It seems a little low.
547,000 to be exact on measured media.
That's
the
number.
article.
It's much better. 500K was low, but.
Yeah, so there was an article on a website called geeknative.com, which basically has a lot of PR speak in terms of what Wizards has done, and says they spent over $500,000 last year. They also alluded to the fact that there's a big project coming up starting in the 3rd quarter of this year, which is going to take up a lot of advertising resources and a lot of advertising dollars. The other thing that really stood out about this is the firm that Wizards has chosen to work with is called the Martin Agency, and the Martin Agency in particular is known for being more of a creative agency as opposed to being a strategic one. So they're not necessarily trying to, get the best strategy or the best plan possible. They really want to be working with kind of new, fresh ideas. And this article in particular kind of questions that decision because they're going, well, Wizards has to have, no shortage of creative people. So why do they then want, a creative agency? Like typically a creative agency is brought in to make up for a shortcoming where a brand tends to be, kind of Right, kind of boring, or they're just not really sure what to do.
The Martin Agency is the company that made Geico exciting. So.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the article was concerned because they already seem to have that going for them. So why are you? You'd think you'd want to diversify a little bit. Like you have such a creative base, bring in some kind of stodgy strategic folk to balance that out, and they're just going for all creative all the time. And so it's a very interesting move, and I'm really anxious to see what they do with this.
Yeah, they have all of Ravnica to play with. They have the very best Magic world. They have the most popular, the best-selling world to play in.
And this article also mentions, us, the fans. It says, the brand comes with a whole community of influencers. It should be easy to get audience involvement and tell stories that are readily received. So it's really great that they recognize, the vocal fan base and how creative we are.
Right. There's a couple of interesting points that they made in this article. The first of which is that the Martin Agency, at least one of their main offices is in London. And one of the things that they mentioned in the article is that the Martin Agency is probably going to have a lot easier of a time having coordinated marketing efforts outside of the United States, where traditionally Wizards of the Coast hasn't been great, honestly, in terms of advertising and picking up new users. I mean, there are as many players of Magic the Gathering in the United States as there are in Japan, I think, is the number. And then that number is also equivalent to the rest of the world, I think, is the number. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's close to that number.
Okay.
It's like 8 million, 8 million, 8 million, or something along those lines. But that's just another feather in the cap for the Martin Agency. So excited to see what they try to do.
All right. So if anybody out there in the Martin Agency is listening, I want you to Google Silver Showcase. Okay. I want you to check that out. I want you to see what happened, and I want you to never, ever, ever do anything close to that ever, please. Thank you.
So did you happen to watch when I was on the rail, as it were, for Justin Bonomo's $10 million win at the High Roller Poker Tournament?
No.
Ben Yu, gold level pro Ben Yu and massive poker player Ben Yu, started chanting Silver Showcase at the top of his lungs with Scott Seaver, who's also massive poker player and plays some Magic. And I'm just there with my head in my face, just like, what is going on? And then Justin had to explain why they were chanting it on television, on ESPN, to Dan Smith and to Fedor Holtz, of like, why are they chanting Silver Showcase? And he's like, it's an inside joke that doesn't really matter, but it's Magic the Gathering related. And it was like 10 seconds, but it was a discussion about Magic the Gathering on ESPN that wasn't great.
That hurts me. That makes me sad.
Not great. Go check out replays.
Wait a minute. So your friend chose to say something on national television, and then is
Ben Yu.
Right, but then is weird that he has to explain it? Like,
no, Ben Yu started chanting.
Right, but you
Justin's
made it sound like
at
he was
the table. Justin's far away, not talking to Ben Yu. And then Justin wins a pot, and Ben Yu, being a wild animal, starts chanting Silver Showcase. And then Dan Smith looks over at Justin Bonomo and is like, "What is the Silver Showcase?"
I know, and look,
and then Justin,
we push.
Poker players are fascinating. I just don't.
Poker players are wild animals.
Strange.
That's one way of putting it, but they're not as bad as Yu-Gi-Oh players, who are basically just the hyenas from the Lion King. Like,
wow. Well,
just say.
Well, and I know we kind of rub WotC's nose in the Silver Showcase thing, and I'm gonna do it some more because you deserve it. Because it was wrong and you screwed it up. It was bad, and I feel bad for our entire community that happened. All right.
Boy.
We want here to Going Infinite, something I had suggested when I first heard of Modern Masters that Wizards like immediately shot down. It's like, it's absolutely not happening. Which is put new modern cards in non-standard sets, aka put new modern cards into Modern Masters. Surprise, you can get a lot more out of something you have no idea what the value is versus a reprint which you know the exact value is. This is what Wizards has basically come to, is like, wait a minute, they want to make the master sets better, but we can't just put in all these dollar bills, so we'll put these weird new crazy mythics and rares and you'll love them and you can only play them in modern, and we'll make it really neat. We'll have a bunch of scalpels and stuff to attack all the format, blah, 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 blah. Stuff you would never be okay with in standard, be just fine in modern. We're going to see more Alpine Moons or whatever now showing up in Modern Master sets. That's the way I
so this was This was a Magic survey that Wizards of the Coast sent out recently, where one of the questions posed to those taking the survey was indicate your interest level of the following, of not excited to very excited. A booster set containing new cards that aren't legal in Standard but are legal in Modern. That's very overt in their phrasing, that they are considering, essentially things like True Name Nemesis and Baleful Strix, except for instead of being legal in Legacy and Vintage, they would be legal in Modern as well.
Right.
And they would be available in packs of a new Modern Masters style set. So yeah, I like the idea. Obviously, True Name Nemesis, I think Baleful Strix are a little bit much for Modern. But you can certainly find design space in there, and obviously we had the big Nexus of Fate fiasco that we discussed recently. Hopefully I'll be playing that as my standard deck for spell slinging on Friday. I mean, that's what I'm hoping to do.
Think of it this way, okay? They just allowed Jace the Mind Sculptor back in Modern, and he's done squat. He did like half a squat at the beginning, and now he's all squatted out. We're all
People
done.
figured out the deck. Yeah. People were like futzing around, and then Tron killed everybody for 6 months before people were like, "Oh, this is the Jace deck that we should be playing."
But I don't know. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I don't know. I think one could argue that they just need to infuse the market with just more modern cards. I'm surprised nobody put this in our show notes. Saffron Olive wrote a post this week talking about how, the average price of a modern deck has gone up like 26% or something like that, and that modern cards are more expensive than they were.
Modern has gone up by 28 or 26% this year.
Yeah, and so instead of trying to come up with new cards, just get some more, get Celestial Colonnades out there, which are still $60 to $80. Snapcaster, $60 to $80.
Right.
Just there's so many cards out there, and modern has become so big now that the demand is kind of outpacing the supply, and now we're really starting to feel that.
So, the Masters of Modern
Rich and Below is almost $40 a piece now. Which look at me, I'm a speculator. I didn't even know.
Who knew? Car payment.
Is this speculation? Question mark with the moth.
I mean, the Dredge Discord was just in chaos for a couple days. They were like, "We've never had this happen. No one's ever wanted our cards before."
Yeah,
it's true.
The Masters of Modern group on Facebook was blowing up about how the prices recently, they've had a lot of action in the Modern Reddit threads and Modern Facebook groups and stuff like that.
Let me finish my point here. My point is, they unleashed the power level of Jace the Mind Sculptor to Modern, and it did nothing. Yeah. So imagine how exciting it's going to be when they make a Planeswalker that is only Modern /Legacy/Vintage legal.
Yeah.
They can push the hell out of that thing. They can make that thing super awesome. And it's going to be super expensive because it's going to see super play, and they can push it, and who cares, because Modern
and it'll
great.
Be a little open set.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'll become super rare. The foils will be like $700 or $800 because they get stupid. See also Dak Faden. It could blow up. In addition to putting Fetch Lands in there and putting Snapcaster in there and whatever, those new cards present question marks. When you just give us reprints, we know literally exactly what you gave us. When you give us new cards, they could be amazing. Maybe one of these new uncommons is going to be a format staple. I don't know, but it's going to increase the value and the expected and the mindset of the value of the set.
And it'll also be brand new and unique because previously stuff like True Name Nemesis, Baleful Strix, those were available in boxes that you knew what was in them. Right. I mean, we have a little bit of that with Conspiracy. You have to open Leovold in a pack, for example. But there's this is not completely dissipating the fog of war. We still don't exactly know what's out there.
You're gonna squeeze a couple more Magic cards in there? Dissipate, fog.
I was going with the StarCraft reference.
Going with that subliminal hit. Look, we are at $1,766. We are a handful.
Remind the people what that means.
We are closer to a $2,000 goal to make the complete Guilds of Ravnica set review happen. We have a week to do it. We have about 15 minutes or less here tonight to do it live on air. We're talking a handful of taters will get us across that line. Just a handful. Some jokes brought to you by Ruben Bressler at the full tater level. All right. So did you just delete something out of the...
Yeah, because it's the finisher topic.
Oh, you're right. That's why. Okay, good. Well, let me tell you. Move here to Splash Damage, where it's not magic, but it's close. there was a box of 1999 Pokemon cards. We're talking first edition, limited printing. The first. Now, there's a difference. They made 2 printings. They made like the first, and they made, like second, third, fourth, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People only care about the first one. You want the firsts. This sealed booster box began at $20,000. That was the opening bids.
Jesus.
Okay. Now the pristine Charizard holo cards, particularly if you get them graded,
excuse me, they're called holofoil.
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 They can sell almost as much on their own. Last April, one sold for $55,000. Just the one card, y'all. Yeah. The one card. So this pulled in $56,000. That's how much a booster box just brought in. I mean, this thing was booster probably $50 back in the day. It's probably $50, maybe.
Do you think the person's going to open it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay.
No. This is a time capsule of money.
There's a card called Pikachu Illustrator, of which there were only 30. It was a special edition card that you got for like a movie release in Japan. Only 39 of them were made, and one sold for $100,000 in 2016.
Oh my goodness. We roll on here, my God. All right. So that's a lot of money, and
yeah, Magic's not the only card game that has expensive old cards.
Boy. All right. So I'm sure I'm glad we get to finish Splash Damage with something weird, kind of awkward. This week there was a Polygon article that showed up about Ninja explaining his choice not to stream with female gamers, and it got weird. And it's a little awkward to say that the person who is the biggest star on Twitch, not close, has basically said, "Look, I'm cutting out, half the population. It's not cool."
Of who he's streaming with, he has said he will not stream with women. Yeah,
right. So the idea essentially is that if he has any conversation with a female streamer, or if there's a hint of flirting, it's going to be taken into clickbait territory and endless videos, endless speculation, endless problems. I can imagine the boy's life is crazy enough as it is, and he's the sort of the theme is he doesn't want to cause more problems right now. He's just trying to do his thing. He knows how to do his thing, but this is somehow going to lead to problems and rumors and issues with his marriage. And Aaron, you can go ahead and shut down all this crap now. Go ahead.
It reminded me a lot of Mike Pence recently. I remember when shortly after, or just I think even last year, Mike Pence went on the record and was like, "I don't go out to dinner alone with other women," and it's just like it was weird, and so it was very reminiscent of that sort of thing. But this was met with a lot of disappointment. To be clear, I don't think he should be tarred and feathered. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I kind of sit on like a 4 in terms of how outraged I am about this. It's disappointing, as Ruben likes to say. I'm not upset, I'm disappointed. The thing that's so frustrating about this is that he is acknowledging that something is hard, but that he doesn't want to deal with it. And the word privilege comes to mind. That's a word that people like to throw around, and people always say, well, what does privilege mean? Privilege means that you get to deal with something by not dealing with it. And so the reality that he's describing is very real for a lot of people, sort of the shipping that happens. I mean, we've even been shipped, Ruben and I, the YouTube comments will say that we're being nice to each other, and that means that we must be dating, or, I've had judges take my judge calls and suddenly we're dating. And so that's just an unfortunate byproduct of fame or visibility, and it can be unfortunate sometimes, and sometimes you laugh about it, but it is something that happens, and this feels like a very extreme reaction to that sort of thing. And on the one hand, I agree with Evan in that he's going through unreal circumstances right now, just in terms of his visibility and the life that he leads, but it says a lot about his privilege when he can choose to say, this is really hard, and so I'm just not going to deal with it. Meanwhile, the women on the other end of the coin, the other side of the coin, have no choice but to deal with it. And so when you're in a position like he is, where you can affect change, you have a massive platform where you could be meeting with Twitch, you could be meeting with YouTube, and then discussing the way that these guys cultivate their audiences and the way that we, treat streamers and things of that nature. And instead of doing any of that, you would rather just put your fingers in your ears and pretend like it's not happening. And so, and it just goes to sort of create this sort of illusion that women are these mysterious creatures that we can't be around because they're so so enthralling and all of this stuff, and it just was overwhelmingly met with like, are you serious? And it was just weird. I think he could be doing a lot more than he's doing. I'm amazed he doesn't have anybody behind him. Like, he was responding to all of his tweets like this, like, for the love of God, get a PR team, get a manager, get an advisor or something. But I'm just really over seeing these major YouTube stars, these major Twitch streamers have no backup and just wading into just one PR disaster after another.
Yeah.
And this was just really poorly handled.
Yeah, he did. So he wanted to try to clarify his statement, and I'm just going to read what he said, which was, I wanted to take a moment to address the discussion around the article that came out over the weekend in which he said that he doesn't stream with other women other than his wife. While I understand some people have implied what my views mean, I have something that they have implied my views mean I have something playing with women. I want to make clear that I'm the issue I'm addressing is.
You kind of wrote
I skipped ahead somehow.
Let the Southerner do it for you.
While I understand some people have implied my views mean I have something against playing with women, I want to make clear the issue I'm addressing is online harassment and my attempt to minimize it from our life. So that's how he framed it. It is something that affects all streamers, especially ones that make their relationships public. I wanted to bring attention to this issue, and my comments should not be characterized as anything beyond that. That's what he said.
But he's minimizing it by avoiding it is the point, whereas there are other people, whether they be less popular streamers or whether they be the women themselves, that don't have the luxury of just avoiding it. Like, he's demonstrating his privilege by saying, I'm just not going to deal with it. I wish I could not deal with it, and I'm sure other people wish they could not deal with it, but the fact that he's able to do that speaks volumes about it, and the fact that he's not aware of that is very troubling, that you have the luxury of doing that.
Allow me to show you the sort of the good version of this, or the sort of the okay version of this.
Yeah.
You have never seen my children on my channel. I have 5 kids. I can tell you about them. They're super cool. I love them to death. They're awesome. I just don't want to put them. I don't want to put them here. I don't want to make them part of my show. Yeah. I don't want to make them part of my entertainment. I want to keep them away from that. Like, I had to weirdly explain, a couple months ago. Yeah, there's a lot of people totally hating your dad right now. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But that's a choice that I made that isn't sort of excluding the world. It's just taking these people who are part of me and not putting them there. So,
I mean, it's different for Ninja, who literally has 10 million people following him.
Sure.
I think it's a whole different scale. He's just trying to avoid it, which I understand, because he's gonna get hate, and he's gonna get trolls, and he's gonna get inappropriate comments, regardless of who he has in his stream, and he's trying to avoid it, which I totally understand. That doesn't make it right, but I totally get it.
It's not right, but it's okay. They wrote a whole song about it. So let's talk a little bit.
Out for Whitney Houston.
I know, right? Let's talk a little bit about Studio Woe, the person who
We're going to end on a weird note.
A weird note.
I'm excited about this.
Well, this is cool because I actually ran into the guy who makes this at the Board Game Geek Con a year or two ago, who makes this game.
Brent or Virginia?
Yeah.
You ran into both of them? Nice.
Yeah, they're in Dallas, and that was fun. He showed me Gruff, and he kind of showed me how it worked, and it was a super cool game. And Ruben, tell us a little bit about sort of what he announced as a result of the banning of Gitaxian Probe.
Right. So Gruff is a tactical card game of mutated monster goats, Billy Goat's Gruff, if you will, which is a delightful name, and it's made by Studio Woe, which is a couple of artistic folks that Evan just discussed. And they made an announcement kind of out of nowhere where they said that they have unbanned Gitaxian Probe in Gruff. So it's banned in Modern, but not banned in Gruff. Here's the statement. Recently, Magic the Gathering announced that it had banned the card Gitaxian Probe from play in their game. We here at Studio Woe empathize with players that feel that they've been left out in the cold by this ruling. So we've decided to allow players to use these cards in Gruff. Going forward, you can include 2 Gitaxian Probes in both Fluttermines and Grover's decks, which are, I assume, their version of colors or the characters. If you bring both of these lovely monster goats, you will be able to use your entire playset of probes. Again, 2 + 2 = 4. If you're interested in getting into the world of Gruff, you can get the game here. What a fantastic marketing idea. What an excellent... I would have never heard of Gruff had they not made this announcement and this popped up in the Magic Reddit. How delightful. How smart. And now I might play Gruff because of this little thing that they've done, even though I'm not a Gitaxian Probe guy. Now, if they had unbanned Golgari Grave Troll, and I could have played that in Fluffernutter and in Grover the Blue Monsters decks, then that could have gotten my attention a little bit more. But you know what? Baby steps. We'll start with Gitaxian Probe. I love it. I think this is hilarious.
It's terrific. And again, the creator of the game had watched some of my content for many years, and we got to talk about that stuff, and it was awesome.
Nice.
So you're supporting a game creator. Like, this is grassroots. This is the guy who, like, he hauls it in his car, and he shows up at the events and stuff. Like, board gaming in general is an insanely cottage industry. Like, these little tiny places who are trying their best to make these big games. You know, there's only so many Fantasy Flight games in the world versus like the 1,000 games. Literally 1,000 titles show up in Essen in every year over in Germany. Like, brand new games you've never seen or played in your life. And it's hard to get people to notice them. And this is a terrific way to do it.
You also mentioned that, like, Kickstarter really makes the board game industry go round, like, more than it's.
The other thing I was going to talk about real briefly on the show is that the host of the Masters of Modern podcast, Alex Kessler, launched his Kickstarter a couple days ago. His is a month long. But his game Battle Bosses, which is a MOBA-inspired board game, his Kickstarter started on Monday. 29 days to go. They are at $9,294 of their $45,000 goal. So they have a much higher goal than we do, of course. Right. But that game looks sweet as well. And you know, it's another Magic the Gathering homie and content producer. Alex and I are very close. When I move out to LA, I'm going to be playing a lot of Battle Bosses as well. So go check their Kickstarter out after you check ours out.
Because we're $54 away from making it happen.
Are we really?
We are $54 away. You guys,
man,
we did it again.
We love you so very, very. That said, maybe we can get to the end here. I'm going
to post the Battle Bosses Kickstarter link in the chat just for
why?
Because he's a friend of mine.
It's fine.
You're going to follow up a message of we're $50 away from funding our Kickstarter.
And then I'll post our Kickstarter.
We can spread the love to all the Kickstarters. So bad at this. Mr. Aaron B. from Oxford, Michigan has won the $50 gift certificate at Orcish Veteran. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Oh, he's a really active participant in our Discord. Very, very lovely guy. Absolutely. Congratulations.
So congratulations. Now I have taught Aaron.
That's right there by Detroit, by the way, if you're using the map.
It's on the hand.
Oxford. It's a little north of Detroit, I guess. Okay. It's a little bit more up here, but yeah.
Wow. Well, Aaron has your information and has the ability to give you those things. We'll make that stuff work. But thanks again for participating. And thanks also, as we clear here our subscriptions today. We have, let me get here to the bottom. Thank you guys so much, obviously. Zach the Robot, subscribed. Tim's War, A Little Aloof. Sheth DMMD, subscribed. Yep. Arcane Lore, subscribed. Next Nocturnum has used 25 bits to cheer up there, as well as Martin Kaka. Thank you very much. Mr. Labufu showing up, as well as Morkroth for 31. That's fun.
Thank you.
Absolutely appreciated. Let's see here. We also have Droopy Koopy subscribed. Thank you very much. That is appreciated. And there was one more, I believe. Did I catch it? 99 Problems. Twitch ain't one.
Oh, that name is genius. That name
resubscribed.
Spectacular.
For 4 months. Thanks a lot. And
thank you.
Gina PDX also subscribed. And again, this was just after our last show. So
thank you.
Thank you guys so very much for your support.
Awesome.
We really appreciate it. But that means we have to turn the corner to the finisher. Host of Command Cast and real-life YouTube turned Hollywood star Jimmy Wong, announced on his Twitter that he has been non-command cast in the role of Ling in the upcoming live-action remake of Disney's Mulan. This is obviously a huge break for the star of video game high school and game nights, but it got me thinking, who will be the next fresh-faced Magic celebrity to get cast in a Disney property? Aaron?
Well, When a Platinum Pro mermaid prince makes a bargain with an unscrupulous sea witch from the DCI, he finds himself in hot water and on the ban list. Can he escape the ban list with the help of his fellow Octopus Garden Oath friends, a crabby old man and a big old fish, in order to meet the human princess of his dreams on land? Find out when Reed Duke stars in The Little Blood Braid. Get some hashtag Baywatch in your actual Baywatch.
Wow.
The Little Blood Braid.
The Little Blood Braid.
That's incredible.
Who's playing the human princess? Could it happen to be a certain streamer with flowing red locks, much like Ariel?
Weird.
Who's to say? But the owner of Token Town is found murdered, and a villainous judge vows to catch and destroy them both. See how this odd couple of a 1/1 goblin token, played by Luis Scott Vargas, and a goblin-hating detective, played by Paul Cheon, gets out of the stickiest of situations and finally gets LSV another top 8 in Who Framed Roger Brackett?
Oh
I'm not bad. I'm just intentionally drawn there.
Intentionally drawn that way. I love it.
Well, listen, when two Magic players meet through their summer Pro Tour sleepaway camp, their two lives are rattled when they commiserate over their mutual love of Elspeth, which leads them to realize that they are identical twins. Coming in 2019, Brad Nelson, Mike Sigrist, and Lindsay Lohan star in The Knight Errant Trap.
Too real.
I went very deep on these
So deep.
Super, super deep. We are just a hair from finishing our Kickstarter. Thank you guys so very much. It really does mean a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that ends another episode of Magic Mics. Thank you for joining us here live to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for tuning in and for supporting us. We really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody who joined me on the Patreon stream this past weekend. My co-hosts are obviously going to be doing theirs later on. And come find me at Grand Prix Los Angeles this weekend. I'll be doing Spellslinging at noon on Friday and hanging out at the event site all weekend long.
Sick. All right. We move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler, you guys for watching and listening, and hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMics. Please visit, like, favorite, share, subscribe, do everything social that tells people we exist.
Tweet, swipe right, friend request.
+1. Please, smash that like button. Smash it.
Smash the like button. Yeah, that's a good one.
Catch us online at twitch.tv.
Like us in person.
Oh my God. Catch us online at twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at magicmicspodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at magicmicspodcast@libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes or join us here next week. Same time, same place for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.
Friendster. MySpace, Grindr, Ko-fi, the thing where you ask anonymous questions, whatever that is.
Kick, isn't it?
Kick.
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
Wow.
LinkedIn. Stitcher. That's a good one. Stitcher.
Stitcher's very good. Yeah.